doing this thing. We're really doing it. Here we are. Welcome to another installment of Christian Radio. Thanks for listening, and it also probably does have a new name for this podcast. We, if you're listening to this right now, you might be listening to it on Christian Radio. You might be listening to it somewhere else because we've been talking about doing a different podcast for a number of literally years. Kim and I talk about doing a new podcast. So as always, I'm Krisjan Hiner, your host. KZB Commercial Real Estate here in Boise, Idaho. Why don't you guys take just a quick sec, introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about what you do. Personally, professionally, whatever.
All right. Well, I'm Kim Talbot, and I am the marketing manager for Lochsa Engineering here in Boise, Idaho. And I herd cats. I handle a lot of different things. I wear a lot of hats at the office.
Yeah.
Professionally, and then personally, I also herd cats. That's what I do,
Yeah, that's
in my spare time.
Yeah, marketers and moms, man. That's kind of what you do, right?
Yes. The small thing that most people may or may not know about me is that I actually am a grandmother. I know.
Which seems insane. Yeah.
It is insane. I have 6 grandbabies, and really I have 7 because there's a bonus one involved. So, yeah. So there's
nice.
that.
Wow.
I know, it's fun.
That's awesome.
Kind of what I do in my spare time is hang out with
So you heard
There are worse things you could be doing.
You heard grandchildren.
Yeah, well, when you start your family young, then you kick them out when you're still young, and then you get to have grandchildren.
And then they learn by example and then start their families young, right? Yeah. So Poe, tell us about you, man.
My name's Poe. It's actually short for my Hawaiian name, Po'okela. But I tell people Poe because it's just easier. Especially, because I do business development for NWESI. And saying Po'okela is almost like a business development killer. Even though it's exotic, it's nice to know certain things.
Yeah.
But when I'm trying to build partnerships, sometimes just coming off a little too strong is anyways, my name's Poe. I do business development, Northwest Engineering Service Incorporated, not related to ESI, but if you want to call us brothers, I'll take that. But they're a great company.
Totally.
But for work, I do business development. I deliver donuts happily.
Good ones.
Yeah.
He's not cheap, let me tell you.
Yeah. Free plug, Duck Donuts.
Yes.
Best donuts I've ever had.
Duck Donuts.
Duck Donuts.
I have not heard of this spot.
Yeah, they just opened up right next to Chick-fil-A in the Village.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll have to check that out.
Free plug, Duck Donuts.
Nice.
They look
You're welcome, Duck Donuts.
But yeah, they have the best donuts there. But
nice.
Actually, we delivered some here. I delivered some here.
Yeah.
Nice.
They're really good.
Yeah. They look really good. I'm gluten-free. So
Womp womp. You just lick some frosting off of them?
I smelled them. I sniffed them.
Yeah. That's cruel and unusual, man. Yeah.
My life is hard.
My life is hard.
What was the other one? Professionally and then personally, huge basketball fan. Love basketball. All things basketball. And then I have 3 kids. I have 3 boys, and I hope they'll love basketball too, but my oldest loves chess and tennis, so it looks like we're going in the other direction, guys. Yeah. But
you never know, man.
That's me.
They might come around.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that as a parent that I've learned, as much as I want them to be into the same stuff I am, you can't control that.
No.
Yeah. I want my our son, he's 11, I want him to love snowboarding and skateboarding and, football and, wrestling and other stuff that I'm into. He'll do it, some of that stuff, but he can kind of take or leave it. He's super into basketball, which I was never super into basketball. I like to watch basketball.
Right.
I'm a short, wide white kid, man. So I never played a ton of basketball growing up, and it just didn't ever really work for me. So I just never got into that. But yeah, as much as you want them to be into the stuff you're into, there's no controlling that.
Yeah.
And just kind of to watch them do their thing.
Yeah.
So when you were talking about, Kim, what you do about herding cats and stuff, it reminded me of a time years and years ago. I worked for a company, and the company hired an outside consulting firm to come in and do like, I don't know, it was like organizational development training, like trying to get us to, understand our roles and the roles of our coworkers better and stuff. And at the time, I was sales manager for this company. I had 5 or 6 salespeople that, reported directly to me. And when they wanted us to, in its most simple terms, like 3 to 5 words, describe what you do for this company. And I was thinking, oh my God, how do I describe all this stuff? And it came around to me, and I said, you know what? My job is I'm a pimp and I'm a fireman. That's my job. And that's what I thought about when you said that. And I hadn't thought about that in years. I mean, but especially in our world,
that's an accurate description.
Like it's a pretty, If I'm not pimping shit out, what we do, like I'm fighting fires for somebody. Like that's at the end of the day, that's all we do, right? Yeah.
That's so accurate.
Yeah, but you can put that on your business cards. Yeah.
Totally taking that. That's so good.
Update your LinkedIn bio, pimp and fireman.
Yeah. What's going on there right now?
That's what we do. Yeah.
That's what we do.
That's exactly what we do.
Legal pimping.
Yeah.
And unofficial firefighting. That's what we do.
Unlicensed.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Pimping ain't easy.
Yeah.
Well, that's a funny thing. I mean, not everybody is cut out, has a personality to do what we do.
Right.
And I know we've all found that in our professional lives. That I mean, there's folks that, especially in our world, the AEC world, there's people that aren't trained, that have a lot of education but don't know that much about marketing, and get thrust into marketing roles. And for me as a trained marketer in our world, like seeing people like try to do that and fail. And I can see them failing and see them struggling, but then at the same time, when they talk shit about what we do, like it crushes my soul. It's such a weird world that we live in with marketing and engineering and stuff.
Well, I think so many people don't understand the value
Exactly.
of it, or and business development, and even how they work together,
Totally.
and the need for it until they need it.
Yeah. Until why don't we have any projects? Where's all our work?
Right.
Marketing people. Yeah. The people that I've shit on for the last 6 months for playing golf and podcasting and doing stuff like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It turns out that stuff actually is important, and work does come from that. Crazy.
There's a little bit of ROI from that.
Yeah.
Like,
Who knew?
What do you mean you're building relationships with people?
Yeah. You actually get paid for that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny because like those two relationships are complete, especially in the engineering world, the AEC world. You have the people, you have your operations and you have your marketing people. They're complete different people.
Totally.
Like
Totally.
the contrast is stark.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like
nobody becomes an engineer because they love being around people.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Yep. And then we need both. We need each other. It's a funny thing.
Oh, totally.
We'll
Yeah. I
bring
mean,
people in.
it's the. I mean, I can't think of a better like example of the yin and the yang. I mean, you need the
that
talent,
dichotomy. Yeah.
Yeah, the talent. The people that do the work. But at the same time, you've got to have the folks like us who go find the work, and you can't really have one without the other. Unless we have people doing the work that we're out finding and promising we can do, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like if they don't have people bringing work to them, putting it in front of them, like they won't have a job very long.
Right.
Exactly.
And it is funny how on our side of the table we get that a lot more than the other side of the table.
Yeah.
Typically, not to paint
more
everybody with that
stress,
same
but-
brush, but typically, yeah. So, Paul, man, what before you would how long you've been in NWESI now for a couple of years?
I'm still green. This
Okay.
is year 2.
Oh, crazy! I guess I figured it was longer than that. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels longer.
Yeah.
I think because we just came off of COVID, so that COVID shutdown year.
That
and
year didn't
everything-
count.
That year didn't count,
No.
and everything just felt extended,
Yeah.
unnecessarily like long.
Yeah.
So, but
But-
it's been 2 years.
Crazy,
But-
crazy. What would you do before that?
So before that, okay, crazy story. I'll take you back.
Take us on a journey.
I'm gonna take you on a journey back in time. So actually, I'm from Hawaii, and I think I've told everybody this, but I love touting it. But I'm proud to be Hawaiian and from Hawaii. So
Totally.
My wife and I, we moved here to Boise about 3.5 years ago. So about 4 years this September. So 2016, I came here to visit with my in-laws. We decided, my wife and I had our first son, and we were like, Hawaii's really expensive. At that time, I was doing territory. I was like managing a region for a waste management company in Hawaii. So one of the bigger waste management companies.
Mm-hmm.
So I was managing a territory there and doing some outside sales and kind of business development, marketing. It was all in that same role.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. My wife, being a travel agent for luxury cruises, she's like, we had a baby, unexpected. which is great. We love our son, all of our sons.
Were they all unexpected?
Yeah. Let me just put that out there.
Yeah.
I don't want to. When I say unexpected, I don't want to make it seem like
Lead with that,
we don't love our children. No, we love our children, but we that kind of tipping point made us really think, Hawaii, Tara, my wife Tara wanted to stay home and be a stay-at-home mom, and I was like, more power to you, let's do that. I don't think we can do that here.
Sure.
But and so my in-laws were looking at Idaho, and we kind of jumped on that bandwagon. We got here, and I decided something crazy, which looking back, hindsight now, probably wasn't the best idea. I came in and I told my wife, I said, hey, I want to try commission insurance sales, 100% commission insurance sales. I am gung-ho. I think I'm amazing. I think everybody thinks everybody thinks they're amazing.
Yeah.
At least in the business development world.
Totally.
You have to.
You have to have that attitude.
Yeah,
you can't be sheepish and I'm not very good at this or whatever. Yeah. You will not go very far if you don't at least can pretend you're confident.
Yeah, you got to fake it till you make it.
Right.
Yeah. And so we got here, and then I ended up getting licensed with Aflac, Allstate, and some other I don't even remember. See how you can tell already how successful I was with it.
Yeah, you must have loved it.
Yeah. It was so I would just, good recommendation. I don't think you should move when your wife is pregnant and you have a baby and try to do commission sales in a new state. You don't know anybody. That was a bad move looking back at it. But I think I can do anything. I'm
Sure.
Superman in my own world, I guess. But that didn't work out. And so I started looking for roles. And this was like 2017, 2018. And for some reason, there weren't a lot of business development type sales, management, marketing jobs available at that point because Idaho was growing and all those positions were really filled, at least the ones that I enjoyed, doing.
Sure, the ones you wanted.
Yeah. And so I left that commission job. And then my wife was pregnant. And we just had that baby and our second son. And we needed health insurance. Like, that's the biggest thing when you have kids, health insurance.
Straight up, dude. I feel that.
And so I took a job completely out of left field, and I went to work for Dairy Gold, just that milk company. I went to Sling Milk. It was insane, but like
milking
literally
cows, or?
No, I couldn't do that. I would be terrible.
Wait, the hand.
I did that.
Yeah.
I did.
like this milking.
Can you tell that I've milked a cow before?
No.
Because I haven't, I assume that's what you do. Like my extent of cow milking, my knowledge of that comes from the movie Son-in-Law with Pauly Shore. That's as much as I know about milking a cow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so good.
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
this, but grabbing
We gotta start at the top
so
and
that-
squeeze
yeah.
it down. Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably.
No, not that. So it was literally at the milk production plant. So we were at a point where we just moved here. We need to get settled. I was in commission sales for 1 year, and I was making sales, but not enough where we'd cover 4 of us and health insurance.
Sure.
Health insurance is expensive.
It's stupid.
It is crazy.
That's
expensive.
we can do a whole podcast on it. Yeah.
So anyways, I was at that point, I was like, I just need something for my kids, because when you're a parent, you got to step up, especially, your
100%.
husband or spouse, you're like, I got to get this done.
Yeah.
And so
It doesn't matter what I do.
yeah,
Man. Yeah.
I just need to get
If I
this
gotta
done.
milk those cows, I'm gonna milk those cows.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. I got to feed my family, and
Yeah.
that it is what it is. I'm going to take a step back, and I'll take 10 steps forward later.
Totally. Good for you.
So I did that, and I will say, there are a few things that I think everybody should learn, and I think understanding I think everybody needs to do sales. I'm a huge believer. If you're not going to do sales as a profession, I think everybody needs to go into sales and learn how to talk, learn how to listen, and learn how to communicate.
Absolutely. Totally.
Yeah, and anyways, I can harp on that forever, but
Sure.
I think every high schooler needs to be forced to do that.
Seriously.
I'm a big believer.
Yeah. And that's not like a speech class.
Yeah, it's not
that's
a
a totally
speech
different class. Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
learning, sitting down, communicating, because I think we need to, especially the newer generation, not to bag on them, but I think everybody
Goddamn
coming up,
millennials.
those crazy kids, but they had. I think we could all learn to listen a little better. I think that would help. And what do they call it? EQ, emotional quotient. I don't know, whatever. IQ,
like
EQ.
emotional intelligence.
Yeah, emotional intelligence.
Totally.
Being able to read people.
Yeah.
I think that would help so much with
100%.
anything you do in life. You could milk cows and it would help you.
Totally. Yeah.
So, anyways, I did that, and so the sales and marketing portion. I think one thing I learned, and I think everybody else should know, is understanding supply chain, how things move.
Sure.
Because doing that helped me actually be a better business development person, because it made me respect the perspective of operations built more.
Sure.
And what I do now has nothing to do with manufacturing and supply, but now I have a greater perspective for our operations team. And so, I mean, and I think anywhere you go, if you're doing business development, you're going to butt heads with your operations.
100%.
It's always going to happen.
Yeah.
And that it is what it is. But then when you have a fresh take on it, when you're like, okay, when you keep in mind some of the things that they go through, you're like, okay, I'll give you a little bit of slack.
Totally. Yeah. I'm not going to let you walk all over me, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, anyways, I did that. It was pretty good because they gave you free milk. So it was nice to get free
with
milk.
Kids, man.
With kids, yeah.
That's a good benefit, yeah.
Got milk all the time. And then after that, I was trying to move up, but then, long story short, because I can't sit in a place and like stay in a single place. I have to get better. I can't just sit there. And so there weren't really many opportunities to do that there. Although the company was there's a lot of opportunities. There just wasn't where I wanted to.
Sure.
There was not
necessarily the right opportunities for you.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Totally.
Yeah. And so I was looking for jobs, and I decided, well, I'm gonna just see what's on Indeed, what's on the market, and lo and behold, NWESI comes out of the woodworks, popping out of the snow, and they were looking for someone to do kind of project coordinating at the same time as helping with some field work. And lo and behold, I actually have experience doing the field work, because right out of high school, I decided, hey, I'm going to go to college, but I want to also do some type of trade to learn something.
Nice.
And I did the trade work, which is like air balancing.
Like on the HVAC side. Nice.
I did, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that. That's cool.
It was
Totally.
crazy.
Nice.
And then I realized I'm too much of a people person to do this type of work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't handle it. And so, anyways, long story short, that NWESI popped up. I sent in my resume. It was a long, grueling process of searching for jobs. You know how it is when you're actually looking for something else, and you're what's it called? Sending out resumes here and there. It's draining. It sucks your life.
100%.
I don't understand why
it feels like
that.
you're just sending stuff into the void. And you'll never hear. Does anyone see this? Probably not. But who knows if they do or not.
Yeah, exactly. And so, anyways, long story short, I got the job. NWESI is an amazing, amazing company. It's employee owned, 100% employee owned. And
That's awesome.
And I believe you met our. She's actually she went from our business development manager. Now she's our director of business development.
Nice.
Jewel.
Yeah, I had her on this very podcast at one point.
You did. Yeah. And she's married now. So
she's married and she has a kid or is pregnant. She's from what I understand
going to have a baby.
Nice.
Yep, she's going to have a baby girl, I believe. So so much has happened with the company, with everybody in the company, but. That's pretty much it.
That's
here
awesome.
to there. That was what was happening, and this is how it's going. So,
good, man. Good.
Yeah. Long story short.
No, that's a good story, man. I mean, like I said, as a parent, that's all it is just figuring out. I mean, health insurance. That's the dumbest thing that we can, like I said, whole different show, whole different topic. But health insurance is super important. And doing whatever you have to do to make sure you have that is, that's what we do as parents, man. 100%. 100%.
Yeah. And it's crazy because and I think I skipped over this. We had our son in Hawaii. It made us think about moving. And then my wife got pregnant again. And so we moved while she was 7. We just made the cut for her to fly.
Yeah.
So we moved when that all happened, and then, paying for all that and getting that coordinated takes a lot of work and to be a good parent. It actually takes effort.
So being from Hawaii, man, you said something about the snow earlier. How do you feel about snow?
Because
Because I mean, I've never been to Hawaii. Like I've seen like T-shirts about like ski the mountain or whatever. Like so, but I don't think it snows a whole lot there, from what I understand.
It does not. So it snows up on a mountain called Haleakala.
Okay.
On the Big Island, which is known as Hawaii Island.
Yeah.
And I did not live there. I grew up on Oahu, where Honolulu is. And I love snow for a time.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that it's in a season. I also love that I don't live in the depths of Michigan, like Montana. Where it gets really cold.
Yeah.
I enjoy snow. I really like snow. And actually, the first time seeing snow fall was when we moved here. I've never seen snow fall ever. On my honeymoon, we went to Alaska, and it was in the summer, so I got to see old snow that hurts when you throw it. So
right.
don't throw.
It's real icy and gross.
Yeah. Don't throw that. Yeah. But fresh snowfall when I first moved here, and I love snow. And I think it's different. In Hawaii, it's summer all the time, which is great.
Yeah.
But then you really get to appreciate some expressions and some of the lifestyle of different seasons. Like, I never understood spring cleaning until I moved here.
Totally.
Because you get out of winter and you're like, I feel like actually doing some stuff, man.
Yeah. We've been cooped up inside. Like everything's dirty now. Like it really is a thing.
Yeah. Spring cleaning is a phenomena I did not know.
That's so funny. Totally. That's so funny.
So it's just all those little nuances, and it's great. And I do want to give a nice shout out to Idaho. When we first moved here, and Idaho has grown so much in the 3 years.
Oh, it's crazy.
Like, Idaho is an amazing place to be. Although now I feel like I still have to prove that I'm Idahoan, but I tell people that now I find myself telling people that Idaho's a terrible place, and we only eat
right. Don't come here. Tell your friends it sucks.
Don't come here. We have potato chips, everybody has potato chips, but potato chips.
All I do is milk cows.
Potato cookies, potato milk, potato cake. That's all we have. That's all we got.
Potato vodka.
Yeah, potato vodka. That's it. So
terrible.
Terrible. Just yeah.
We have cow farms and mint fields. We call them schmint.
Schmint.
You drive by the schmint fields.
Where is that? Where can you find that?
There's a bunch. I know. Yeah, I know of some that like out by Kuna, Caldwell Marsing area. There's a bunch of that out there.
Wow, I have never been. Okay, I have to go. I have to go take a look.
Take a nice drive between Caldwell.
Yeah. So, from an outsider looking in, I have some questions for you guys. As you, what are some things that you guys are seeing for the valley, good and bad?
Sure. I mean,
as it grows,
Yeah, sure. I mean, just the growth itself, you can see it as good or bad. Most of my career, I've made a good living off of the growth. So I can't be super mad at it. But at the same time, like, it used to be, it didn't matter where in Boise you were going, 10, 15 minutes tops.
Right.
Now it's minimum 20 to 30 minutes to get just about anywhere during the day, which is super annoying because I'm still, even though it's been growing like this for so many years, like I'm still find myself being late for shit all the time because I thought it'd be 10 minutes. Now it was like 25.
Right.
And so that is, it's not a bad thing, but it's kind of annoying,
Yeah. That's happened too. Like, because when we first moved here, I was like, I can get down here in 10 minutes. And now just in 3 years, now it takes me 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm
it's
like,
just more traffic.
Yeah.
And
sit at lights for like 3 rounds.
Which is so annoying. Yeah. And I mean, and I've been around enough and I've lived other places. I'm from Boise, but I've lived, in other places enough and traveled enough to know that even though we have traffic, like we don't have traffic.
Yeah.
Not compared to Salt Lake City, not compared to anywhere in Southern California, not compared to Northern California. Like, we have it goes a little slow sometimes. You can't even really necessarily call it traffic, right?
Yeah.
So that's definitely one thing that I've seen. But I think, and I mean, clearly I'm no traffic engineer or whatever, but I definitely feel like with the growth that has been coming, that we've known was coming for a long time, like some of the infrastructure with getting people around could have maybe been dealt with better. And I know it all comes down to funding and everything else. And, I don't know a ton about all of that stuff, but I wish we had better public transport. I wish we had a better, freeway system, like some kind of loop or whatever, because coming from the north end or Eagle or whatever, like to get to the freeway is really hard. And I've been to a lot of cities, like Phoenix is not necessarily one of my favorite cities in the world, but the way their freeway loops around and you just get about just to everywhere on and off the freeway is really cool. It's pretty cool. So I wish we had something like that. So my office is downtown, the US Bank building. And so I find myself driving, downtown a lot. And usually, once I go downtown, I just pretty much stay. And I would love it if there was a way from my house, when I live, not too far from here, kind of in the West Bench area. It'd be so rad if I could just jump on a train or on a bus that just went close to downtown.
Right.
But from where I live, it's on the bus like 40 minutes to get downtown. Where
Really?
I can ride my bike in 20. So I wish there was a better way to and like I said, and I totally know that it's funding and all that kind of stuff, and that'll come with time. But that's one thing that I wish we had more of is better kind of public transport and stuff to get to and from downtown.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I see that as well. We are. I think we're compared a lot to Denver, and Lochsa works very closely with a lot of our clients in Denver, so we're there often. So, obviously, still a lot of traffic. We're used to it. It takes you about an hour.
Yeah.
Anywhere you go. However, they've got their train system. They've got tons of public transportation.
Yep.
And I will say, regardless of even if you are on the freeway, it is set up very well. It is, extremely well planned. That infrastructure. And always very thoughtful and very forward planning, future planning. And I think that's one thing that Boise, I just think, in the past, I think what we thought was forever probably that we're just going to remain this small town, and we're going to keep ourselves as this small little small city, and we're not going to grow. And for a long time we were that.
Right. Right.
I remember when I moved here. I was 9 when we moved here, and we didn't see getting to 100,000 people in the city of Boise. That took a while.
Yeah, like going to the city, like going to Star felt like the other side of the world. Yeah.
You felt like it was forever.
Totally, that was so far away.
Oh my God. Like we went shopping. Shopping was Karcher Mall.
Totally. I remember that as a kid too. Yeah.
And so, for us to be at the point where we are now, I just think that the planners back in the day just never thought that this was going to happen.
No.
Right.
So there was never the budgeting and things. But now we know.
Yeah.
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 And I think
The secret's out.
Turns out. Yeah.
And now we have to plan for the future. And I just think that, the money is going to have to be spent, clearly.
Yeah.
And it's, we're going to have to, our freeway system is going to have to accommodate the number of individuals that are going to be coming. And not for who's here now, but the ones that we know are going to be coming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We just have to know.
Yeah.
Our sweet little city is big.
It's
It's
growing,
going
yeah.
to get bigger.
It's all grown up.
It's all just about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Who
the bus
wouldn't wanna live
systems.
here? Let's be real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to live here?
I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, most of us Boise kids have to leave at some point to really understand how good it is.
Oh, yeah.
And it's pretty darn good here, and that's why a lot of people move here because
Yeah.
it's good. People are nice. It's easy, and that's one thing that I've learned from
family
being in other
friendly.
places. Yeah, it's family.
Yeah.
It's easy to live here.
Yeah.
Like I haven't found anywhere in Boise that I feel unsafe or, oh man, this is kind of a shitty area or whatever. Like that
Right.
doesn't super exist. There's
Right.
very few places that I've been to that I just, if I don't lock the car, I know it's going to get broken into or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how Boise is
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
There's isolated incidents and, weird shit that happens or whatever, but it's not like living most places where if I leave my backpack in the car, it's going to be gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
It's not like that here.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully there's no criminals, budding criminal enterprises listening to this. They could move in and take over.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
I
else,
think-
man? So Kim, I sort of know some about this, but maybe not a ton. Before you were at Lochsa, what did you do before Lochsa? Because you've been at Lochsa now for 5, 6,
Almost 6
years. Yeah.
6 years in August.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what didn't I do in my previous life? Oh gosh. So so like this, I was kind of thinking about this as Poe was talking about, kids should have these customer service centric sales jobs, right?
Sure.
As they get out of high school. So my first grown up job right out of high school was working at the Boise airport for Budget Rent-A-Car.
No way.
Oh gosh.
That's
So it
awesome.
was
That's awesome.
My goal, I actually went to travel school. I really
Oh, crazy.
wanted, I
I
wanted
totally didn't know
so
that.
bad to be a travel agent.
Yeah.
that was back in the day where you couldn't be a travel agent unless you had travel experience.
You had to, yeah, sure.
So I was going.
Well, I guess I got to travel.
Yeah.
So I worked for this rental car company, and I loved it, actually. I loved it, and I will tell you that the experience that I gained working there was truly the best experience and has served me to this day.
Yeah, I've heard that the rental car companies have crazy good like training programs for stuff.
Yeah. Well, I still talk about this to this day. Like, firstly, you know, like, as when people travel, sometimes they just become somebody else.
Sure.
Like, I don't know what happens to people when they're traveling, that they sometimes like morph into another person that really isn't maybe who they would normally be, but like
I can see that.
the anger.
Yeah. Oh, not in a good fun way. Oh.
I was thinking in a good way.
Yeah, I was thinking. I like to go out of town and talk about how I'm a philanthropist and and I've got all this money and just,
Right.
yeah.
Well,
no.
there's that.
Yeah.
But I had this woman, and I mean, I was like 19 years old, I think, 20 maybe. And this woman, she was from New York, and she had reserved. Now, this was the time when like Sun Valley was at its height. Everyone was going to Sun Valley.
Sure.
And she had reserved an economy car with ski racks. And an economy car at that time would have been like a Geo Metro.
Sure.
And of course, the ski racks aren't fitting on a Geo Metro, so you know we're upgrading her for free to something that the ski racks are gonna fit on.
Yeah.
And this woman is just beside herself that she's not getting the car that she reserved.
Yeah.
This is not happening. You know, she's gonna.
She wasn't stoked to
Really?
not get a
No.
Geo Metro.
Oh no.
To get a free upgrade.
She's getting.
I don't
the
want this
car.
upgrade.
Yeah. I want the Geo Metro.
Don't tell me you're gonna.
How many
upgrade
people
me?
in their lives ever said, no, fuck that, I want the Geo Metro? Who's ever said that?
Right. Oh no, she was like gonna be damned that she's getting this car that she reserved.
Too funny.
You know, and of course we're trying to explain like you can't put the damn ski racks on this Geo Metro.
Yeah.
So finally she's like got her itinerary that she's waving in my face, and then pretty soon she can't find her itinerary.
Oh, gosh.
To which she's threatening me that I have stolen her itinerary, and I whip that garbage can up from the floor and slam it on the counter.
Oh, my
And
God.
I said, "Does it look like I have your itinerary, lady?"
Ugh.
And it was that moment. It was that moment.
As the garbage can hit the desk.
And the security guard is walking towards our counter
Yeah.
to remove this woman from the airport.
He can feel the tension
Well,
from
he can
across
feel
the
the tension.
terminal. Yeah.
And all of the other agents at the other counters are like applauding as
Yeah.
this woman leaves. Right?
Oh, my God,
And
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can handle this like salesy thing.
Yeah.
I think like customer service, I think I can deal with.
Yeah.
Totally.
I love that. Yeah, and that's another thing too, like learning to kind of stick up for yourself when you're
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah, 'cause-
100%. Because I think, you know, I think we just as human beings in general, we don't often see the value in ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially when we're young.
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
and that's kind of conventional, like, sales or, customer service thought is the customer is always right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not. I mean, in their own eyes and their own belief
Yeah.
system or whatever, they're always right. But they're not always right, for sure.
Yeah. There's definitely a balance because if you let them do that, then you create a lot of Karens.
Right.
But
Yeah.
Totally.
So there was that. And I came off of that and I started my family. I have 2 daughters that are grown,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, since I have grandkids. You would assume that, I hope. And
I did assume that, yes.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
have my oldest daughter lives in Colorado, and my youngest is here in Boise, and I taught in what was the Meridian School District for 12 years. It's now West Data School District. I worked with children with emotional disorders.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I worked K through 12 doing that. It was hard. It was really hard.
Oh, I
but
can't even
loved-
imagine, yeah.
But I loved every second of it, and I still have students, high school students who are now adults, and I still reach out to me from time to time.
That's so cool.
They
That's so
are
awesome.
Successfully moved on in their lives, and I did that for a while, and then from there I've run a preschool. I have Worked for the Boise Philharmonic in their public relations, and then I've ended up here at Lochsa Engineering.
Yeah.
So you've been hurting for a long time.
A career.
That's a whole
you know,
those challenges. I can see that there's.
Yeah. And
wow.
We always laugh because Riley, who's one of our principals here at Lochsa, we joke a lot about that my job with the school district is why they hired me.
Yeah.
in the interview, they were like, "Tell me about this working with these difficult kids. You know, what did you do?" And I said, "Well, yeah, these are kids with emotional disorders. You know, like bipolar, autism, things like that. You know," and it was like an immediate, "Oh my gosh, you're perfect. You're perfect.
Totally.
You'll be able to work with anyone in this industry.
Yeah.
And anyone in this office. She's hired."
Yeah. Well, and that's you know one of the benefits of doing what we do is that sort of experience translates exactly to what we do now.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just such a direct correlation.
Yeah.
Well,
And on the surface, people that aren't in our world wouldn't think that.
No.
You know, look at a resume,
Right.
like, oh, she whatever at a school. No, that doesn't make any sense. No.
Absolutely.
But it makes total sense.
And I've
Yeah.
told people, and I've told kids, especially like younger kids, I call them kids, but like kids that are in their 20s and they're, you know, like they're finishing school and they're trying to build their resume, right? And they're like, "Well, I can't put this job on
This
there.
doesn't
I don't
apply
wanna
or
put
whatever,
that
yeah.
I worked at Arby's or whatever." And I'm like, yes, because every single job you have had has skills that you have built.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
In you. So you just have to pull those skills out that you have gained,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
everything has brought you to where you are today.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
has made you who you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. When you worked at Arby's, you did more than, make fries and cut meat.
Yeah.
There was way more to it than that.
Oh,
that was sort of
absolutely.
part of it, maybe.
Yeah.
Customer service. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Totally.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it fashioned you into your character, all the skill development, all those things help.
Absolutely.
And not even
Yeah.
just that, even growing up. I mean, there are so many things that just
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So earlier Paul, you were talking about really understanding operations and having a kind of a heart for what they do, and it'd be nice if they had sort of better understanding of what we do. The same company I was talking about earlier that I worked for. It was a company where we sold and rented construction equipment to contractors primarily. I ended up becoming the sales manager for this company, and there were multiple branches across the valley, and each of the branches was effectively in competition with one another, because all the branch managers had monthly numbers they had to hit, and all and
really?
metrics they had to hit. Yeah, even though it was one company, they were sort of in competition with one another. And the branches and then there really was one branch that month after month, year after year, was so much better than the other ones. Their numbers were better, everything was better. And the old Sagey branch manager that was there was one of the nicest, kindest dudes that I've ever met in my life. And one day we were having beers, and I asked him why. I says, why is it that your branch consistently outdoes all the other ones? And he was like, "Dude, it's because I treat all you guys, all the salespeople, like my best customers, because you are." And I was like, "Oh my God!" And it clicked. I'm like, "Of course you do," because when it didn't matter where I needed stuff to go to, it didn't matter. I mean, if it could, there were times that I had a project, a job site in Caldwell, and there was a branch a mile from there. I would have these guys from downtown Boise take it out there, because I knew if I called them, they'd make it happen. And if I called the guys in Caldwell, they would bitch and moan and, "Oh, we don't have time today," or it's, "I got somebody off and it's lunchtime, and why don't you just come get it and take it to them," or whatever. No, man, I could do that, but just do it. And they fought us, because you were just the sales guys. All you do is play golf and whatever. and they just did not understand and care about what we did. And even though I was there trying to help their branch make money, they fought me. They would just fight me. But the dudes that didn't, they did better, and that has always stuck with me.
Yeah.
They treat the salespeople like your best clients, because they are.
Yeah, and you take care of people, because it's just that circle. It's the circle of life in business.
Absolutely.
And that's just when your internal systems are running in that matter. I mean, you do so much more.
Absolutely.
And that's why plug into my own company, but like I mentioned that an NWESI is an ESOP. It has an employee stock ownership program,
which is super cool.
And I love that. Like I think we live in a world today where people kind of want to see that what they do actually makes a difference.
Totally.
And then ESOPs, they like, because everybody is pretty much an owner. You have your CEO and your board, but then everybody has a part to play, and then they have that I guess that feeling, and they also, I mean, not just feeling, but they actually have that influence on what they can do. And I've just being a part of an ESOP or a company like that focuses on, their people taking ownership. It's a huge difference culturally.
Really,
like
I've never worked for an ESOP, so
yeah.
But yeah, tell me more about that. Like, what is that feeling? Like,
so in intern, it's just this. The internal cultural feeling. So everybody has this sense of like, if I work hard, it'll go towards the growth of the company. And when the growth of the company happens, with an ESOP, the stock of the company rises, and you get direct benefit from that. Your bonuses at the end of the year, you get direct benefit from that. So an ESOP is really, really good for people that are like highly motivated, want to feel purposed and fulfilled in their job. And then when you get a group of those people together, when you hire them, my goodness, good things happen.
Cool.
And
totally.
And not that we don't have any challenges, but you work through those things. Like, and most like any other company, it's like a character or like personality challenges.
Sure.
Because one person says tomato, the other says tomato, whatever.
Totally.
But it's just, I think that's such a, like, the ESOP model and vehicle is such a cool way to get a company to really embrace, just be that identity of their company. Not that you can't. That's the only way to do it.
Sure.
But it'd be nice to see it happen more, because I know, especially like my generation, the generation younger, you have this idea that capitalism is so evil and you can't do anything with capitalism, even though capitalism brought iPhones. But
right. Yeah.
But then ESOPs are a nice balance to that for people that feel that way.
That's cool.
I think it's just. I'm a big proponent of ESOPs. I've only been in one for a year and a half, but I love it.
Yeah. But now being a part of one, like, you clearly don't want to leave that.
Right.
You want to stay in that.
Yeah.
And as the company, that's what you want. I mean, everybody in business has always known that it's more expensive to get a new client than to keep an existing one. Yep. And it's probably way more expensive to get a new employee than to take care of the ones we already have.
100%.
So there's all those benefits for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think it helps too, because in the AEC realm, everybody is wanting their engineers now and their technical guys to be seller doers.
Yeah.
Seller doers.
Yep.
That's the whole model now. And it makes sense. It helps, but that's a difficult thing, I think.
That's a tough ask for a lot of engineers. Yeah, because like I said before, I know a lot of engineers, and 98% of the engineers that I know didn't become engineers because they love people, and love being around people. Yeah. They love technology and love the systems and figuring the problems out and doing that. And they don't want to be the ones that are out convincing anybody of anything. Because how many people do we know that, like, being a salesperson? That's like the lowest of the low thing you could ever be, as a salesperson.
Yes. There's a weird stigma around it.
Because most people, especially that are engineers and architects, they hear salesperson and they think of a slimy ass, like, used car salesman or whatever. Somebody's trying to trick somebody into something. Like, that's not, like, we're not trying to trick anybody into anything. We're trying to offer service and show how we can take care of problems and make their lives easier, not trick you into, buying something you don't need.
Right.
Like the slap chop guy or whatever,
I think in our office, like, we have created for Lochsa, for growth in the company, we have a couple of different paths you can go on, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if you are somebody who's more introverted and you don't want, like, I don't want to have to be, talking to too many clients,
people I don't know,
like,
or whatever.
I don't want to be in charge of a team. I just want to come in, do my work, and kind of go that path. There's absolutely a path for you.
Perfect.
But if you are somebody who is more of a leader type, you don't mind leading a team, you don't mind kind of being the lead for the client, you don't mind that, you can take that path where you can be that project engineer. You don't call it sales, but that's
sure.
Right? Essentially, that is who you are. And you are the one building those relationships with those clients, and that's essentially what you are doing. And I tell everybody in the office, if you work for Lochsa Engineering, you are marketing. You are
100%.
business development.
If you
are
ever
doing
do
it.
anything that a customer sees, touches, feels, or thinks about,
Yeah.
you are in marketing. Absolutely.
You're doing it.
100%.
And if you're engaged with a client in any way, you are on that project, you are emailing them, you are talking to them
Yeah.
on the phone.
Everything you do is marketing. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
100%.
You are doing it.
Yeah.
So you're representing this company, and you have to understand that you're to that client, you are the face.
You are Lochsa. Yeah. At that
Yeah.
point in time, you are Lochsa Engineering.
Exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, I think we are trying to give them the tools to be able to go that path.
That's
and
awesome.
To be able to understand that, it isn't scary. It isn't.
Right.
It isn't as scary as
No.
we think it is. But to the people who really don't want to go there, there's still a growth.
Yeah.
There's still
That's
a
awesome.
path
That's
to
awesome.
be able to grow in the company.
Sure.
Because you know what? I mean, there are people in this company, like, if I said, hey, I'm going to take you on this business development adventure with me
Yeah.
tomorrow night, they would die.
Yeah. They get white and kind of pukey. Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
They would literally rather.
That's their
close
nightmare.
their eyes
Yeah.
out,
That's their nightmare.
Right.
Totally.
But then there's a few that would be on board
Yeah.
right now.
All right, cool, let's go. Yeah.
Cool. Like,
Yeah.
let's hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, that's perfect because
Yeah.
I don't think,
It's a good balance.
It is. It
Yeah.
is a good balance. And I don't think anybody should feel like they're less than because they aren't that personality. Because
Exactly.
I think, we need, like as you said in the beginning, we need those people
Absolutely.
who are the doer.
100%.
Like, we need those engineers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like absolutely. My gosh. Like, and then we need us who can go out there and sell. Like I can sell Lochsa Engineering all day long.
Yeah.
I believe-
And you do.
Like,
Yeah.
I do.
Almost like it's your job.
Like I just believe in what we do so much, and and ethically how we do it, that it's so easy.
Sure.
And they make and I'm sure to tell them, you are who makes it easy for me to do my job.
Totally. Yeah. That's perfect. Yeah.
So it's really just a balance, and for
Yeah.
you as well. I know.
I agree.
You know,
I completely
right?
agree. Yeah, because you're always going to have people that are more willing on the engineering side and less willing. And you don't want to shut off the people that are less willing because they're still amazing engineers.
Yeah.
And they're so
And what
Yeah,
they do is
and
super
they're
important.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And and that's the other fun thing about it, because then you're playing chess, because it's like, okay, well, I want to use you, but I know let's just match the capacity now,
Right.
because you
Totally,
don't want to
totally.
throw people in the trash.
Yeah.
No.
And so that's a great point, just having that balance and finding the levels.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
So you can add chess master to your
Yeah.
title.
Yeah. Pimp, fireman, chess master.
Well, and then you take your very introverted folks who are always like so skilled at what they do.
Right.
And those are the people who, when you need, like you're going to submit an SOQ for something, like, oh my gosh, hey, can you help me with the write-up for this project?
Right.
Because I need, oh my gosh, their technical skills
Yeah.
are so amazing.
Yeah.
So they're
Tell me about
right
this.
there.
What did you guys actually do? Like, tell me about what problems you guys solved on this.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Done. Yeah.
What was the scope? And
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they're right there.
Yeah.
And they're so valuable for
Yeah,
them.
and
Right,
and that's one thing that I've learned for sure is with those folks is to, just kind of knowing the right questions to ask. You can get all that important marketing kind of data stuff from them because they know it.
Yes.
They don't know
Yeah.
how applicable it really is to what we're trying to do. But if we can ask them those questions, we'll
And
get
they can
that
just-
information from them. Yeah,
bring it right
Oh,
off
that
from
project from
memory, yeah.
2017, I remember everything
Yeah.
about it.
Oh,
Bam,
I
bam, bam,
do
bam, bam, bam.
too.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
crazy.
It's-
You'll
it's amazing.
remember- my mind is blown whenever I'll name a project and they know the project number.
To-
and it is
exactly.
literally from like 7 years
Yeah,
ago.
and they know
They
the project number.
and they go right to it.
That's the funniest.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and they're like, this building, and I remember this exact
Totally.
thing happened, and I'm like, wow,
Oh, it's
that's
crazy.
the most
And
minute
everyone who
detail.
was on the project. It's just
Yeah.
it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, and that teamwork, that's when you see success blossoming out of a company, and it's just that's what we're building. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
everybody wants to build that.
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even in with what I do, commercial real estate, we talk a lot about in our firm, our small but mighty firm, is that we are a marketing company that knows a lot about and is really good at commercial real estate. Is really what we're building out, and I know you guys are kind of the same way, and that's what makes what we do really fun.
Right.
Totally. Well, I'm so excited to see what you guys are gonna.
Yeah, no, we've
Doing that.
we've got some stuff, and I've literally been in what I do now for, I don't know, not even a month. honestly, and I've got a ton of I've got a ton of stuff to learn, but I already know a lot of stuff too. I mean, coming from BOMA is involved. I've been with BOMA for a long time, and like.
Yeah, and the technical will come.
Yeah.
You already have the
I
essentials.
A better fit for you, to be honest.
It's so refreshing and nice. Yeah.
I just feel like this for you is honestly just the best possible fit. Like, I mean, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like,
it's so fun. Yeah, just getting out and for me, I mean, as a I've taken the Myers-Briggs test, a dozen times in my life, and every time, 100% extrovert. Like there's no introversion. Yeah, you probably never would have guessed that. Yeah, and so for me, just to be out networking and talking to people and just being able to help, business people with kind of, with their business goals, really is kind of what it comes down to. Whether it's, hey, I want to buy a building that I can profit on, or we need to sell this building, or my coffee shop is looking to expand. We don't know how to do that. Like, where do we go? Like, that's what I get to do now, is help business people find those spaces and stuff. Yeah. And the buying and the selling is cool, and that's kind of its own thing. But what I'm finding that I really like the most is kind of that tenant representation, where my buddy who's an attorney is like, yeah, dude, we're kind of outgrowing our office. We need a new space. Like, how do I do that? Like, cool, let me help you. I will find you office space. Solving the problem. And what I get to do is with who owns the building or who has that building leased, for that office space, I get to negotiate on their behalf kind of the terms of that lease and make sure that I'm their advocate, because you go to whoever's got this building lease, like the listing agent, they're not, I mean, they're looking out for the interest of the building owner, and nobody's really looking out for the interest of the business that's going to be in there.
Right.
And I've talked to a lot of people lately that have really shitty, really bad leases that they're just kind of getting bent over on because they didn't really know what they were getting into. And that's my job, is to review those leases. And I've got a whole cool team of people that we work on that stuff together and make sure that these guys are getting the best possible deal for them. And that's super fun for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super awesome.
Yeah.
What do you think about this whole thing with Sears and did you see this?
I did, yeah. And I've heard about that for a while. So I think it's cool.
So
what's happening with Sears?
Well, first of all, so Sears, they're talking about ripping down Sears and building some apartments.
Yeah, right here at the mall.
Here at the mall.
Sears, and I guess I didn't realize that within the constraints or whatever of the mall, that there's individual owned condo units, and apparently the Sears space is owned separately from the rest of the mall, which I didn't realize. But so someone has purchased the Sears space of the mall, which has been closed now for a while.
Yeah. And
they are going to I didn't look at the whole plans. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to transform the existing space and probably add on to it and make that apartments, like multifamily living at the mall. Don Day, who everybody knows and loves Don Day.
Yes.
I don't remember if it was on LinkedIn or Facebook that he posted. He's like, hey, if you ever want to live steps from Hot Topic, this might be for you. I was like, yes, that's awesome. Yeah.
I'm like, totally. Who doesn't want to?
I think
right there
there's tons of parking. Like I know the buses kind of coming and going from the mall is good. I think it's cool.
So I just want it known.
Cool. I'm like,
that
my eyes.
husband and I had this idea like a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I'm not upset, maybe just a little bit upset about this. I just had this idea. I don't know the right people, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
No, we had this idea literally a while ago when the mall was starting to kind of I don't want to say fail, but things were to slow down. We had this
I don't want to say fail, but it wasn't doing good.
This sweet idea where. This actually started, I went to a conference in 2019 where they were talking about the malls and how the big box stores are all shutting down.
Yep.
How could you reutilize these stores?
Yeah.
And I thought, this is genius, right? Like, you could literally build in these malls these high-end condo living.
Yeah.
In these malls, and you've got all the parking. You could, in some of the malls, you could even, my idea was that you would take all the upper level and make that condos.
Yeah.
And then your shopping would be all on the bottom level.
Yeah. Totally. It's all under the same roof, but it's not too dissimilar from any other mixed use development, really.
I'm just saying.
And the tenants is almost guaranteed sales for them.
Right.
Oh, seriously. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The idea is here.
Yeah. And do that, and the food court is going to get bigger for sure, because now there's a ton of people that live there that want to, be able to
they're not going to cook.
No. They're going to walk over and
If you are a developer listening to this program, please contact Krisjan Hiner.
I know someone that can help you with that.
Lochsa Engineering.
Absolutely.
My investment eyes are like.
Yeah. And even for And I haven't read into the Sears one enough to understand, but even for like a senior living kind of community, I think it makes a ton of sense because then within the mall, I mean, you could have like outpatient kind of care stuff, within there with super walkable, and it's inside all the time. So if it's 110 degrees outside, it's still air conditioned inside. It's still in the wintertime, it's nice inside. Like there, I mean,
I definitely like
that.
And in Hawaii, they actually have that. So they have there's a big outdoor mall, and then they ended up building condos right and just attached it.
Totally.
And they're expensive condos now.
Yeah.
I think it's like $1 million.
Yeah.
But
because it was a super idea. And and people and stuff's only worth what somebody will pay for it. And if somebody pays $1 million for that, it's valuable. And to have those services super close is super valuable for a lot of people.
100%. And they were even saying like some of those big box stores, you could even do something like like if they didn't want to tear it down, you could do like a jump time and
totally.
a climbing gym.
Yeah, trampoline park or whatever inside. Totally.
Right.
Like, reimagine these spaces, reutilize these spaces.
100%.
That'd be a good
I think, and I think it's going to happen. I mean, I think that, the way that we live our lives has evolved a little bit. And, we just need to take these spaces that exist and just...
kind of renovate and transform them. Absolutely.
Modernize them.
And I mean, as much, as many calls as I'm getting right now for, retail space, nobody's calling me for like big box, huge spaces like that.
Right.
Because so many of those big stores are, going to more of a warehouse kind of distribution model where Amazon. I mean, I order everything.
To compartmentalize them into
Exactly.
Spaces.
Even in the grocery space. I mean, every once in a while we'll run over to the store by our house to grab something quick, but 98% of the groceries that we get, we order and they just get delivered.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I know a lot. I'm not alone in that. And so I know a lot of grocery stores are transforming to that more distribution warehouse kind of model.
That's absolutely that conference that I went to is actually a retail conference, and they talked about this, that we're going to see that most everything will come to a warehouse situation. Shopping centers, grocery shopping, even things like Target and whatnot. Your actual shopping experience will be much smaller. And then there will be much bigger warehouse space.
In a lot of grocery stores, we're kind of seeing that where it's going into especially like the Walmart neighborhood markets.
Exactly.
It's like a convenience store but bigger. It's not a huge grocery store, but it's it's big enough. But they're they
have all the amenities.
Yeah, they have all this.
They have the clothes.
Exactly. Yeah, they don't have all that stuff. But I mean, when I go there, that's what the store that we go to by our house is because it's super close.
Yeah.
And when I'm in there are more people that work for Walmart that are like that are picking groceries and stuff that they're going to deliver than there are people like in there shopping.
Absolutely.
So in a scenario like that, why would they spend all this time and money like product placement and like making the shelves look all pretty? I mean, I can see it transforming just more into like a standard like warehouse.
Absolutely. And I think, we're seeing too with COVID, people wanting to stay home more and not wanting to get out, in public spaces as much, and or just even busy moms not wanting to have to
wrangle all the kids to the store. Yeah, totally.
Which is great.
Which is so much better.
Like that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The only problem that we've ever had with the grocery delivery is when they deliver it to my neighbor's house instead of our house, and I don't notice. For whatever reason, that always happens all the time. My neighbors have to text me, "Dude, your groceries are here." I'm like, "God damn it!" And I gotta walk down the street, get all my stuff and carry it home. It's so funny. Yeah. So if I'm not paying attention to see when they pull up, and we both have the numbers on our house. And somehow they take the next door. It's so funny.
I like that idea. I mean, as it evolves, if it can evolve in the right way, it almost has the potential to give you more family time.
100%.
And because now you're those things that you had to schedule with all the errands, all the other things you had to do.
Totally.
That's a little more automated. So you have more family time. You have more time to go hiking or doing something else. And I like that. That work-life balance is.
And that, totally. And I know I'm not alone in this, but that's one thing that COVID taught me or just made me, realize or whatever was grinding it out and working all the time. And it's always being gone. It's not worth it.
No,
it's not worth it. We don't need nearly as much stuff as we thought. We don't need to make as much money. We just don't need as much stuff. And that time being home and just being with the kids, my wife, is so much more important than just grinding out just because that's what we do is we just work all the time. We work hard.
No. Say, at the end of the day, you're not taking any of it with you anyway.
No.
So
Yeah.
But one of the things too is a lot of people were concerned getting grocery delivery and stuff is that it's all going to take jobs away.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's
gonna
creating
change,
different
yeah.
type of jobs.
Exactly, exactly.
You're going to have warehouse jobs. You're going to have delivery driver jobs. You're
Yeah.
going to have, you're going to just have different jobs, and it's going to be a lot more technical jobs. Which, to be honest, the generation of kids coming up, they're technical.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
kids are technical.
Yeah, because
and
all
these-
those kids for the most part that are doing this grocery. I mean, they're walking through with the handheld things, whatever
Yeah.
the technology is, and they're scanning the stuff. And I mean, you can't just. It's not, they don't have a piece of paper they're marking stuff on. I mean, they're using technology to
And
do
they
that
said
job.
Those warehouses, they're going to be really like robotics centric, but they're going to have a ton of staff running this.
Totally.
It's going to be high tech.
Yeah.
We have to
Yeah.
have people that understand
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I think they were saying robotics engineering is going to be huge.
Oh, sure.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Tell your kids robotics.
Robotics engineering. And so I was talking to a buddy of mine who owns one of the bigger construction companies here in Boise the other day, and he was talking about, the trades. And right now, their biggest headache is finding people, who are electricians, who are plumbers, to get on these jobs and do stuff.
Yep.
And he's like, dude, if you think construction is expensive now, wait 10 years when there is literally no electricians in our town. Like,
Yeah.
how do you...
Electricians, plumbers,
Yeah.
any kind of construction at all, boots on the ground.
Yeah.
These are quality jobs.
Absolutely.
And not all kids want to go to college. Not all kids,
I mean,
here the thing is like you're coming out of college now. Most students coming out of college have, what are they're saying, like $96,000 in student loans is like
Oh my
an average
gosh.
because these kids are. I mean, that's an average across the United States, obviously, depending on the schools you
school.
go to, and then some are getting master's degrees or specialty degrees.
Sure.
How are you going to pay that off, especially
You're not.
some of the,
You're not.
depending on what your
Yeah.
job
You're not going to.
And how are you paying
Right
that
after
off?
I graduated from Boise State, I bought my first house. It was $98,000.
Right.
No way.
100%.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, in 2001, I bought a house for
Yeah.
$98,000.
Yeah, I
in
think mine
Boise,
was
Idaho.
108.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
So
not long ago.
it wasn't that long ago.
I know.
I wish to God I still had that house because it's worth like $500,000 now,
Yeah.
and I would probably damn near have it paid off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I would have never sold that house.
Same.
Yeah, but 100%. So when I went to Boise State, my most expensive, my very last semester at Boise State for fees, this is before books and everything else, was $900.
Yeah.
I
those
graduated.
days are gone.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, I worked, full time in the summer and damn near full time, all the way through school, and just kind of paid my way through. And you can't do that now.
No.
I mean, the only way you do it is you have to
They
take
take
massive
loans.
load.
Yeah.
And so with our son, I mean, he's 10, so we don't talk a lot about like college or whatever. But we bring it up once in a while or whatever. And I mean, he's super smart, super awesome kid. He can do anything. But for him, like, I mean, I remember being a kid and like being a construction worker or whatever, like that was like last resort. Like that's what you do if you've been to prison or whatever. I mean, you know what I mean? Like that was not
That
a
was
thing.
the same stigma.
This
If
awful
you're a
stigma
felon
of that.
and you
Yeah.
work
Yeah,
construction
then you have to
or
work.
fast food.
Yeah, or if you're just a dumbass or whatever, like you end up doing construction. Like you end up doing construction.
Yeah.
But moving forward, the kids who do construction are going to have no debt and own businesses really soon out of high school and make a ton of money because there's so much demand for it. So for our son, like, dude, I've been pushing him like, dude, being an electrician would be awesome. Being a plumber would be awesome.
I know.
Being a steel
Yeah.
erector would be awesome. Like any of that stuff. I mean, he's a big, he's 10 years old, but he's a strong kid. Like he can do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And he's the type of kid that would own, he'll work for somebody for a
Crane
minute.
operator.
Seriously. And then end up,
Yeah.
end up owning his
Easy,
company.
right
Yeah.
in the beginning too.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
right away.
Jobs are amazing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
not even just like I remember talking to someone about this too. Like, trade schools are good. Like that's a
100%.
good school to go to,
Absolutely.
and they're cheap.
Yeah.
you gain a skill, and if you're business savvy and you want to be like be some type of entrepreneur, guess what? You have the tools.
Yeah.
and guess what you can do?
A
You can start
very
business.
direct path.
Yeah, it's
very
right there.
direct path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say for kids now, even if you want to go to college,
Right.
I would do a trade as
Yeah,
well.
seriously,
I
do the
would
same
do a
thing, yeah.
trade, and if you want to go to college, do that too. But
Yeah.
you will always have that trade to fall back on.
100%.
Because, as we know, COVID proved to everyone that life may not go the way we expect it
right.
to.
No.
And you know.
Yeah, if we didn't know that before, we definitely knew it now. Yeah.
There should always be a plan B. Everybody
Yeah.
has to have a plan B. You always have to have something to fall back on because you never know.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Totally.
And the trades are not, like to me, they are not. As you just said, they're not something to look down upon.
No.
Yeah.
I think
You
they
gotta get rid of
are
that stigma.
absolutely-
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I think we need to be talking to kids. I think we need to be going into schools, and we need to show them that these are reputable jobs.
Yeah.
That these are
100%.
You can
Yeah.
be absolutely proud
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
any of these jobs, and
Right.
you could start out swinging that hammer, but you might end up being the owner of that company.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 It doesn't matter, if it's HVAC, plumbing, whatever,
Yeah.
drywall, like
Yeah.
any of that stuff. Like that's, I mean, yeah.
Drywall. Oh yeah.
I grew
up doing drywall, and
Did you really?
man,
That's a skill. Though.
that is something that like I'm happy that my dad
Yeah.
taught me. I 12 years old had to go and do that.
That's a skill.
Anyways,
though.
it's hard to do.
Dude, that's hard
It
work.
is so hard
Yeah.
to do. Like it's
Yeah.
not easy. But
No.
yeah.
Yeah, if you're a good drywaller, though, I mean, like they're so fast at it, and
It's insane watching those guys work,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, all those things are just so good, and I think like if we can, and you know what, there are so many positions inside AEC companies that you don't really know. You think, oh, I'm construction, I'm just going to be a field worker, but no. There are so many different types of positions that
Totally.
make this wheel
Yeah.
turn.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it turns out that those are actual real companies with all the different
Yeah,
functions that a real
exactly.
company has. Yeah.
Yeah.
From accounting and legal stuff to, field work to in-house
Yeah.
project management to everything
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
Operations,
Real companies. Yeah.
administrative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
And
mean, yeah.
and it's just it's something that we have to I hope that we can grow more, because I think our society needs it. And
Yeah.
it, like taking on all that debt, it almost seems like it's pushed back like our society in a different way, where now like we have all this debt, now we're not having families because we have people are pushing that back.
Yeah.
Because we
we're
want to
riddled
be
with debt.
responsible.
Yeah.
We don't want to have a kid. We don't want to start, get married and have a kid when you're in a bunch of debt.
When I don't own a
Yeah.
home and I'm $100 and whatever thousand
Yeah,
dollars
exactly.
in debt.
And that's being smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think it's going to have some interesting effects if we keep going down that path.
Yeah.
But
It
trade
feels
school,
it feels to
baby.
me like
That's how
it's
you do it.
Yeah. Dude, seriously. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. We're pretty much out of time here. I got to run. But thanks for doing this. We're going to do this
Yeah.
again soon.
Absolutely.
So thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Peace
See ya.
out.
Okay.